Let's see. If you are getting this, can somebody let me know? If you're seeing me, if you're seeing my face, let me know. And if you're not, that's cool too. But if you see me, let me know. And I will, there we go. What's up, man? All right. What's up? What's up, Rick? Trying to hit people as they come on. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? How's your day going? What's been happening today? Matt, I see you. Thank you, Rick. Mark, where you been, man? Jimmy, see you. Oh, man. It's great. Sup, Eric? Eric Thomason, Blue Nail, killing it. Mark. All right, you're around today. Great. Okay, so this is me. Probably not the safest thing to do, but I was on the road today speaking, and I'm committed to go live at 4 o'clock, so here we are. It's 4 o'clock, I'm going live. If you guys don't have questions, then I'm just going to talk and tell you a story. But if you have questions, please say something, and I'll talk about it. Ben, Matt Andrews, the big dog, the platinum preferred OC guy. All right. So here's the story, and I'm going to watch the comments. If you want to talk about something, let me know. But I'm going to tell you a story. So back in the early days of the internet, when things were just getting started, I was fascinated by computers. And 1982, 1981, something like that. I was living in a small town in rural Missouri. My dad had just taken a teaching job. And I was in this rural town, and there was nobody there. There was a town of 700 people. And nothing to do, absolutely nothing. We had to drive like 30, 45 miles to get to Arkansas, a town in Arkansas called Mountain Home, Arkansas, where there was shopping and, there was stores and things like that. But there was nobody in my town. It was literally 700 people. And so my dad took us to Sears in Arkansas, and that's where I saw a computer. It was actually a Commodore VIC-20 computer. Commodore made computers, Apple was making computers, IBM was making computers, but Commodore had these really inexpensive computers, and this one was called a VIC-20. A lot of people had a Commodore 64. The VIC-20 was the one before it. And so my dad bought me a computer, and it came with a little hookup. You'd hook it up to the back of the TV, and I had a tape deck where I could record all the programming I did, and literally I would stay up all night with a computer programming, with a magazine. It would tell you how to program games and stuff like that, and I would stay up all night typing the stuff in, learning how to code, and in the morning when the sun would come up, I'd finally have like a little spaceship that would go back and forth across the bottom of the screen as a little alien floated across the top, and it would shoot a little missile, which was just kind of like a line. And if it hit it, it would go. And if it didn't hit it, you'd do it again. But I'd stay up all night, and I was fascinated with computers. And they didn't have internet connections back then. It was just, you and the computer. Selling roofs, Steven. That's great, man. So when the internet came around and we started having modems, AOL came out. And at first it was a 14.4 modem, then a 28.8, 36K, 56K. And eventually we kind of worked our way up to some more high-speed modems like DSL. But AOL came out, and they started shipping discs all over. Big floppy disks, then smaller discs, and then they started doing CDs. But, you could get on AOL, and you had to pay your monthly fee, and you had to pay your phone bill and stuff like that. But you could get on AOL and get into these bulletin boards where people would buy and sell stuff. And some of my friends, they were into buying and selling baseball cards. And, they made a lot of money buying and selling baseball cards on AOL. And it was about this time that I was working for my church. And I was trying to figure out ways to get more people to come to church. And Google wasn't around yet. Alta Vista was the big search engine outside of AOL. And the problem was that not everybody had an internet connection. So even though I was reaching a lot of people, salesmen always should be picking up the check, Matt. Here's the reason why. And if you guys have questions, I'll interrupt my story and I'll answer them. But here's the reason why. You want the salesperson picking up the check because the salesperson has to look the customer in the eye. All the things that they promised them about, how they're going to protect the rose bushes and how they're going to paint the chimney, or how they're going to make sure that the stuff's moved out of the driveway. It's really easy for salespeople to make promises that are difficult for the project manager to keep if they're not the one that has to go back and get the check. But if I got to go back and get the check from the homeowner, I'm going to be very careful about the promises I make that homeowner. I'm going to be very careful about the things that I over promise. I want to make sure that I don't over promise, and I also want to make sure that my team can over deliver on that. So if the projects manager is going back and picking up the check, you run into problems, which slows down your money. And anytime your money slows down, your ability to attract and gain more wealth slows down. Remember, money loves speed. And the fastest way to pick up that back end check is for the guy that made the promises, the guy or the gal that made the promises to the homeowner, said, we're going to do this and this is exactly what's going to happen, for them to go back and get the check. That's the short answer there. If you have, Rick says the salesman, and I agree with Rick too. Always, I want to have the salesperson going back and getting the check. Now, if you have a quality control guy and the homeowner hands them the check, or the project manager is out there and they hand them the check, then that's great. The money's come in and you didn't have to go back out. But it's primarily and always essentially the fact that you want your salesperson to pick up the checks, because they're the ones that are making the promises. All right, so hey, Rob, John, thanks guys for joining me. So I'm telling the story about the early days of the internet when AOL is sending out all these discs, and I'm trying to get people to come to my church by advertising on the internet. And before there was Google ads, or before there was any other type of ads, there was GoTo. And I could literally buy a keyword on GoTo when somebody would type it in into Yahoo for a penny. So I could buy the keyword, for example, roofing, for 1 penny. Or I could buy the keyword church. If somebody typed in church, it would show an ad for my church for a penny. And if it was really competitive, it'd be a nickel or a dime. Now, we all know nowadays you can't buy a click on Google for a penny. There's no penny clicks anywhere. If you want to advertise for roofing or roof repair, depending on the market that you're in, it's going to be a $20 bill for 1 click. And but back in those days, there was a penny, a nickel, a dime. The problem was that not everybody had the internet, and when they were dialed into the internet, they weren't really clicking on ads back then. So I could not help my church get more people by advertising. But what happened is that these other guys found out that I knew how to do this, and so they hired me to help them. And one of the guys was he did packaging, like Tyvek bags and bubble mailers and tape and packing peanuts and stuff like that, and he advertised all throughout the United States. And so I helped him because he could sell everywhere. And for my church, I was just trying to reach the people in a little area in a neighborhood, or I was trying to reach the people in a city, and there just wasn't enough of those people online at that time. But the packaging guy, we could sell mailers all throughout the United States. We could ship them to other countries if we wanted to, and I helped blow up his business. And then I had a buddy from college who wanted me to help him. He was importing motor scooters from China and then selling them online. And he was paying about $200, $300, $400 for them, and selling them for twice, 3 times, sometimes 4 times as much. And we were able to reach everybody. And by this time, Google had come out, and we were running ads on Google, and we could buy clicks for people searching for scooters or mopeds or Vespas, 20, 30, 40 cents a click. This was before things got real competitive. So I was helping all these other people grow their businesses that were selling nationwide, but This was before the days of people having a cell phone in their pocket with high-speed internet. You know, the Yellow Pages was still in existence, and people were still using the Yellow Pages to find local contractors, plumbers, roofers, painters. So what happened is that I had a business partner, and we were selling roofs. We had a roofing company, and I decided to use the internet as it matured and more people were using cell phones to help generate leads. And I went to work for an internet marketing agency. They were actually the publisher of a phone book. They also did millions of dollars every month in internet ads. And I had a team of 50 people under me, and we ran ads for everything like motels, junk collectors, acupuncturists, I mean, you name it, bakeries. We ran ads for everything, including roofers and plumbers and painters and all that. And for 2 years I did that while we had this roofing company going, and I was generating leads for the roofing company and then running this the agency side of this business. And that's when the internet started really maturing, and people, once they got the internet on their cell phones, that's when things really heated up. That's when the clicks for roofing or roofers or roof repair started going, you know, $10 and $20 and $30 and $50. I mean, there are clicks in New York City on Long Island that run you over $200 just for one click now. What started out as a penny is now over $200. And roofing's not the most expensive industry. The most expensive industry is water damage or mesothelioma claims. You know, people breathing in asbestos and they get mesothelioma. Those clicks are like $400 or $500. But water damage in Clearwater, Florida, a click on water damage Clearwater FL runs over $300 for one click. And that doesn't matter if it's, you know, somebody that actually has water damage, or somebody looking for a water damage company, or somebody researching a company, or if it's your competitor, or if it's a supplier trying to sell you water damage equipment like drying machines. One click. It's not a lead, it's just a click. Over $300. But that's how I developed the agency side of my business. 2 years after I went to work for that agency, I left, took a team to Oklahoma City, and we tried selling roofs in Oklahoma City. Massively competitive market. It's a bloodbath up there. And went to the coast and sold, and I was in Florida and chasing hurricanes. What a nightmare. But I've always come back to the internet marketing. That's kind of how my internet marketing chops got started, way back in the early days. All right, anybody watching? We got 2, 3, 4 here. Anybody watching have any questions about using the internet to drive more business, or anybody have any questions about anything really? If so, hit me up. Let's talk about it. What's up, Sam Troyer? What's up, man? Good to see you. Saw the great Chuck Allen. Chuck, I got stains on my shirt from that hand soap today. Hey guys, did I answer the question from Matt about who should pick up the check? Did I answer that the right way? Does everybody agree with that? Francisco, you probably missed the question on who should pick up the check, but asking for feedback on that. Does everybody agree it should be the salesman? Hello, Francisco. Mark says yes. Francisco just bought him a big fancy white van. He's either making a lot more money in roofing, or he's going to start selling ice cream cones. Yeah, that's right, Rick. It gives the salespeople another opportunity to sell more. You know, it gives you a chance to ask for referrals, gives you a chance to visit the neighbors, puts you back in front of the homeowner again. Sam's kicking up his feet. I mean, what else can a salesperson do when they go back out? talk to the neighbors, ask for referrals, make sure the job site's clean, make sure there's a sign in the yard. I mean, I want my salespeople out in the field. I want them interacting with customers as often as possible. I know that a lot of people that have project managers say, well, I want to do a project manager because I only want my salespeople selling. Well, if you've got 10,000 leads and you're just passing them out left and right to the salespeople, that's one thing. But if the salespeople have to generate their own leads and you need them to sell multiple leads, multiple jobs off of one lead because internet leads are expensive, you want them back in the neighborhood. Yeah, Francisco says everybody should be on the job. Sales should be 100% included in that. They're the face of the job. I completely agree. Rodney says, I'd throw this as an owner. Yeah, it can be good for the, there's 6 power tools to grow in your company. These are things I talk about in the RCO Growth Kit. I talk about in my private training, but one of the power tools for you to leverage what you're already doing without doing anything more, just what you're already doing and get more out of it, is that there's specific tactics to get more out of what you're already doing. And one of those involves the owner. And there's several different strategies there that I discuss in my training. But the owner being in front of the customers is essential on an occasional basis. You don't always have to be in front of the customers as an owner, but you got to hear what people are saying. You got to hear the feedback they give you about, when the material was delivered and what side of the house it was delivered on, and who they're talking to and who else they know. If an owner disconnects themselves completely from their customer base, they're doing themselves a disfavor, because there's so much more. Hey, Ron Savage. What's up, Ron? Dang, man, you guys need to know Ron. Yeah, I mean, there's so much more going on a job site that once you get back into the back office and you involve yourself in working on the business rather than in the business, there's a fine line there. You still have to stay connected. You still have to be a part of that process, or you lose the touch. Yeah. Ron, we're talking about making sure the salespeople are involved in the process. Brandon Mills, what's up? What's going on, man? Derek, how you doing? Talking about keeping salespeople involved in the process and picking up the back end check. Once you remove the salesperson from the responsibility of having to look the customer in the eye and get the check, having to look the customer in the eye and the customer saying, hey, you didn't keep all the promises you made to me. Once you remove that customer and that you cut the salesperson off, it's a lot easier for the salesperson to make promises that cause you a lot of problems. Francisco says, I should sell Ferraris. Never thought I'd enjoy selling. I think I can sell rice to China. Man, if you can sell rice to China, that's good stuff. Francisco, I want to do a live with you one of these days. I think people would learn a lot from you, because you sell in California, which means you don't have a lot of insurance claims. I'm sure you've handled a few, but most of what you're selling is retail work, and you price yourself at the top level. Mark, tell me how to do less jobs and make more money. Mark, you know the answer to that. Charge more. Ron says, salespeople make the promises. They have to be sure they follow through with their words. Absolutely. It's kind of where I'm at too, Ron. It's easy for a salesperson to talk, blah, 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 blab their mouth, but they got to back up the promises. And if they know that the company struggles with a certain area or a certain aspect, it's too easy for the salesperson to overpromise on those on those things, and get the company in trouble, and now you're chasing checks for people that aren't happy, and the salesperson is off running another lead rather than going back and collecting the check. Francisco, tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Let's go. Rick says raise your prices. Absolutely. I mean, there's a whole module in the RCO growth kit about raising your prices, and prices has to do with many other variables other than the dollars you collect. But if you want to make more money and sell less jobs, you just have to raise your prices. You have to charge more for what you are giving. Sometimes the answers are really simple. It's the execution, it's the strategy that's a little difficult, it's the mindset and the limiting beliefs that you have to wrap your head around. You gotta get rid of limiting beliefs, and that's where mentoring and coaching comes in. But the simple answer is raise your prices. If you go out and you normally write a repair bid for $400, write them for $800. If you normally sell a certain chimney flashing job for $1,500, sell it for $3,000. Yeah, there's a certain point where people will drop off and they're not going to buy from you anymore. But at the same time, you're going to develop a database of customers who pay you more. Now, if you don't have enough work, if you're not busy, and if you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs, then do the work. You were made to work. I mean, guys, we were created to work the land. So, but if you're busy and you have an agenda where you want to scale your company, just raise your prices. Mark's like, I know all too well. Francisco just wants to throw out one of his tactics early. When I complete a job, I generate a punch list. I tell the homeowner what I'm fixing, and they usually say, oh, I didn't even see that was wrong. But that gives them an extra sense of satisfaction. Yeah, Francisco's working the marketing angle. Yeah, tomorrow at 4 o'clock Central, Francisco. For you, that's what, 2 o'clock? I don't know what time it is for you. Have the sales guy have a walkthrough checklist and set the appointment with the customer for the final walkthrough, with the expectation of the check being picked up at the end of the satisfactory walkthrough. Yeah, so that kind of sounds like this. Mrs. Jones, we've completed all the work on the project. I'm going to be by tomorrow night at 3 o'clock to do a final walkthrough and make sure everything's taken care of for you. If you have any concerns, we can bring it up at that time. And then when I finished, we'll go ahead and pick up the final check. Does that sound good, Mrs. Jones? All right, great. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll do the walkthrough and I'll pick up the check. All right, great. Have a good night, Mrs. Jones. See you tomorrow. Jonah McLeish. What's up, Jonah? I'll wave at you, man. See, there we go. A little while longer because I'm committed to the 4 o'clock Central Time phone. Are trying to call me and interrupt this call. I'm going to stick with you. If you have any questions about growing your business, scaling your business, if you want to talk about ways to make more money in less time, if you want to talk about recruiting, you want to talk about salespeople, if you want to talk about mindset, if you want to talk about advertising, if you have something you want to throw out there, let's talk about it. I'll stick with you for a little while longer here because I'm committed to the 4 o'clock live call, either myself or an interview or somebody that's valuable for you. Let's talk about it. Enter your comments in the comment box and we'll take a look. See what we got. Jonah, how's your business doing, man? You doing good? Uh-oh, Francisco wants to talk about millennials. Francisco, you like those millennials? What do you like about them, man? If you have a question, you have a comment, leave it in the box. Listen, I want this time to be valuable for you. I want you to get something good from it. So, a couple rules here. Rule number 1, don't be afraid to ask. A lot of guys, a lot of company owners, they're afraid to ask. They say, well, if I ask, then my competition will know what I'm doing, or somebody else will figure out my tactic, or they'll figure out that I'm weak in this place, or I don't have a lot of confidence here. Listen, ask. Go ahead and ask. The chances of your competition watching this video anyway are slim to none. We're here to get help. We're here to get better. If you're going to invest your time anyway, may as well invest your time and get better. Oh, Francisco's teasing us. He's going to talk about millennials on tomorrow's call at 4 p.m. All right, I see what you're doing there. Giving us the hook. Come back tomorrow for Francisco's millennial talk. And we're going to talk retail sales too, aren't we, Francisco? How to generate cash flow when they don't have an insurance claim. That'll be good stuff. Tell us the story of that big old nice van you just bought. All right. Folks, I'm 15-20 minutes from my house. I've been doing a private coaching event today out in East Texas, and working with the guys out there, doing really good. But I'm going to stay with you here for a second. So Francisco, we're going to talk about how to get retail pricing on insurance claims. That's good. That's something that we should talk about. Yeah, guys that do retail, they don't even like insurance claims. A lot of times the insurance claims are, what the insurance company is willing to pay is way lower than what they normally charge. So Francisco's going to talk with us tomorrow at 4 about how to get retail prices on insurance claims. That'll be good. Yeah, Ron says that's a battle. That's a battle for sure. Ron, when I did my tour with GAF, and we sat down at in that conference room, the RVP for GAF was telling me that he has, one of the companies in his area is doing $850 a square. They go in, they write the quote, one call close if they get them, $850 a square for 30-year, what used to be 30-year, it's lifetime now. But they close what they close, and they walk away from everything else, and everybody pays $850. You can pay whatever you want as long as you want to pay $850. You know who they are, Ron. Aaron, you should come on camera with me. People need to know you, buddy. Let's see if the dude will come on. He's a really good guy on the northeast corner of Little Rock, Arkansas. Yeah, Ron, wouldn't that be a gold mine if you knew all the places their guys were going and you just followed up behind them? Paul is watching. Total gold mine. I mean, they are master elite, so they're dropping a good quality roofing system on them. Easy money. Yeah. Ron, let's talk about financing real quick. Everybody thinks financing is the game changer. It's going to save their business. It's going to keep them from going out of business if they offer financing. Tell me what you know about financing. Let's talk about that. Aaron's not coming on. Still love you, Aaron. Okay. You'll make it happen soon. I like that. Let's talk about financing. Ron, everybody says financing is a game changer, especially these guys that work insurance markets. We're going to roll out financing, and it's going to save our company. We're going to make so much money. Let's talk about financing. We're talking about financing, Mark. People think financing is going to save their company and they're going to be able to make big old fat profit margins from financing. I want to talk about financing. Let's go. Ron says we use Green Sky some, but most people that can afford financing use a card where they get their rewards. So they get their air miles or they get their Disney vacation miles. They get their cash back. Yeah, Green Sky kind of, they focus on the people that can already get the financing. Mark says financing is just icing on the cake. Do you get fatter margins with financing, Mark? Ron, do you get fatter margins with financing? Or do the credit card fees, when they flip to credit cards, does that eat into your profits? If you know they're going to use credit cards, do you charge them more? I mean, Green Sky's a good company. Don't get me wrong, Green Sky's a good company. But if they can get Green Sky, they usually have a credit card. Rick says we do 10%. About 10% of his business is financing. Rick, do you make fatter margins on your finance stuff? Ron says a lot of fees associated with it. You pay Green Sky, the customer pays Green Sky, and you pay the credit card fee with Green Sky. You have to, or it'll eat your profits. Yeah, the fees could kill you, man. Mark says occasionally we do financing gains that customer that couldn't otherwise afford it. Mark, do you use a special financing company for lower credit? Like, I know that Hirsch, they kind of dig down in the lower, the 550s, 575s, I think. They'll get those lower credit scores. Rick's saying, yeah, we hold more profit if we have a payment buyer. Rick, are they making the payments to you? Are you offering in-house financing? Or are you getting that approved through a financing company or through a traditional bank? You using Wells Fargo, Bank of America? You using a third party? Mark says he did try Hearth for lower scores, but he didn't have too much success with them. Okay, Rick, yeah. That's a little known one. That company, I can never say their name right, Synchrony, they have a little bit more lenient credit terms than, some of the others. Ron says you either have to figure 2 or 3% across the board for all customers, whether they finance or not, or you need to add about 7 to 8% to the shingle house contract to cover your fees. Aaron says we have Pazer, Hearth, Green Sky, and Foundation. Most of the time, they don't qualify. Imagine that. Imagine that. On Synchrony, Rick, are you getting a pretty good approval rate return on Synchrony? You got hooked up with them through Allside a few years ago. I mean, they're really good. They have their own branded card, and a lot of plumbers and flooring companies and siding companies use them, and so they seem to be a little bit more lenient on their credit terms. Signature only, they don't require collateral. 80%. That's pretty dang good. Guys, if you're watching this right here and you just picked up Synchrony as a credit source, that's worth your time right there. Because I know they get people approved that other people turn down. Now, sometimes the credit limits are capped, but that's good stuff, Rick. Thank you for sharing that, man. A lot of value right there. You're not still doing Allside, are you? Yeah, Lowe's, that's right. Synchrony is Lowe's. Then Mark says there are those people who love that 6 to 12 months of 0% financing. That's true. I'm one of those guys. I mean, I'm a sucker for it. I upgraded my laptop, bought me a really nice Razer laptop this year. Super fast, massive graphics card. I mean, top of the line that I could possibly buy. And I got suckered in by the 12 months 0%, and they got me. I needed a laptop anyway, but I was gonna look at a few places. But I went to Best Buy and they showed it to me, and I was like, "Dang it, I'm buying it." Rick says not doing all side anymore, but he does have 18 months, same as cash. That's very good. Yeah, those 0% or no finance fees, um, man, that stuff is excellent. It'll move people right into your buying circle pretty dang quick. People who wouldn't normally do business with you, if they can get that 0%, or better, if they can get those no payments for 6 months. I know that's expensive on the discount, but that'll move some customers. And they're not as price sensitive. You have more price elasticity, which means you can charge more for doing the same thing with people that get the finance terms they want. Like, if I get to choose the terms, I'll buy anything if I get to choose the terms. I'll buy $1 million mansion if I get to choose the terms. Now, in order for me to buy the $1 million mansion, my terms might be I'll pay a penny every month for 100 million years. I mean, those are terms, right? Price is only one component of it. The other component of it is the value, and the value is in the terms. And if you can offer them terms that are attractive to them, price is less relevant than what other people might believe it is. It's all in the terms. I've been doing a lot of work on pricing, and actually for my RCO Elite clients, those that graduate from Growth Kit and they go into Elite, we actually did some pricing stuff. But I'll give you a little sneak peek. The fact of the matter is that, you know, the dollar that you charge somebody has very little to do with the decision they make on whether or not they're going to buy from you. For those of you that have been in my mastermind in the past, I had I had a little white paper that I put out that said price is not your problem. Your price is not too high, your value is too low. Well, you got to consider the component of value when you're considering pricing. And financing has a value component. I mean, the Romans, they didn't even call it pricing. They had a Latin word called premium. And premium actually meant the price and the value together. You can't ever consider price alone. There has to be the value consideration of price. And when I can choose to pay 18 months later, or I can, let's say you're going to get into one of my coaching programs, you don't have to pay it all up front, but if you could break it up into several months, that provides extra value to you. And because you have that extra value, that means that, the price isn't as big of an impact to you. Same thing when you go into a financing situation. $10,000 to write the check right now is not the same as $12,000 and pay it over 12 months at 0% interest. It's not the same thing. They're two different things because they both have a different value component to it. That's why I try to be real flexible when I'm bringing people into my RCO growth kit or they're graduating up to Elite. I want to be flexible in how that value works so they can move up into it. I don't ever want price to keep people from getting into my mentoring and coaching, and you shouldn't let price keep people from buying your roofing or buying your remodeling work. You want to offer additional value components, and that's where the financing comes into play. Good stuff, guys, man. What a great call. What great questions today. I'm kind of reaching the end here, but if you have a question, drop it in the box, and I will give you I'll give you a little feedback on it, and we can talk about it. Let me wait and see if anybody's here that wants to talk. If you want to talk about it, if you got comments, drop it in the box and we'll do it. Rick says, buy it now on 18 months, same as cash, and pay it off when you get your income tax in the spring. That way you don't have to worry about the roof over the winter. Rick McAllister, that's genius. Absolutely genius, man. And if you have a financing package where you can get 80% of your people approved on that financing, and you drop that value bomb on them here in the holidays, man, that's huge. Of course, Rick McAllister is also the guy that closes his leads at over 80%. So doesn't surprise me that he has that value bomb right there. Remember, price is never considered independent of value. Price always has a value component to it. That means if you can change the value component, you can change the price. And if you change the value component to something that they consider to be valuable, in other words, having a new roof over the winter without having to pay for it over 18 months, you know, that $10,000 roof now sells for $12,000 or $13,000 or $15,000. Rick says, I don't think so. Guys, don't sleep on Rick McAllister. He's out in the middle of central Pennsylvania, and he's a stone cold killer. Stone cold killer. Seen it all, done it all. He's training a team to do it with him now. But his advice on financing, go back through and read Rick's comments on financing. Those are gold. If you like this stuff, if you like this video, you like what we're doing right now, give me a little like, hit the like button or something like that. Just let me see it, because it encourages me that we're on the right track. Good, you like it? Boom, boom, boom. Get a few likes. Thank you. I see that blue thumb go up. There we go. More blue thumbs. Okay. Oh, I got a heart too. I don't know who did that, but thank you. Another blue thumb. Love it. All right, so tomorrow we're going to be back at 4 o'clock Central Time, and we're going to come back with Francisco from California. And Francisco's going to drop some value bombs on you. We're going to talk about selling to millennials. We're going to talk about retail. We're going to talk about sales pitch for retail. We're going to talk about referrals and follow-up. Francisco's got a lot of good stuff to bring us tomorrow. So tune in, roofing company owners, tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And we'll have Francisco on the line. Until then, guys, thanks for joining us. If you're interested in growing your company to the next level, I want to talk to you about the RCO Growth Kit. And if you need leads for your business, you want to go over your marketing, let me know, and be happy to do it. Millennials are difficult. Yeah, they are. They can be. They operate by a different set of rules. They value things differently than we value them. That'll be good. Join us tomorrow, 4 o'clock Central Time, and we'll go live again then. Thanks again, everybody, for joining me. It's been a good one. Appreciate it. Good stuff today. Thank you.